having been, in the MTV generation, I knew that I was going to have to come up with a show that was visually arresting, because I knew darn well that I was competing really against TV commercials, the most expensive form of television known to man, and that I would not have a whole lot of money to do it. So I was going to have to come up with a visual language that could hold my generation, a generation who had been raised on music videos, and then compete. What I wanted is I knew that, okay, you've got 3 or 4 commercial breaks, they're long, and the commercials are very expensive. What am I going to do to keep you? Because I've got to keep you. I can't have you wander off. I've got to keep you here. And so I knew that it was going to come down to coming up with a narrative style, a storytelling style that would get people curious, and that we'd have to come up with weird models for things and weird visuals for things that could never cost much money. Certainly in the early days, the show was really, really cheap. So I started monkeying around with ideas like, I'm going to put a camera in the back of the oven. Why? Because nobody puts a camera in the back of the oven. I'm going to keep the camera constantly moving. Why? Because nobody does that. And above all, I'm going to shoot single camera, no coverage, none, because that's what Hitchcock would do. Because then you put all your bang where the buck is, and of course, if you shoot coverage, someone at a network's going to monkey with it. So I wanted to make sure it was non-monkeyable. It would only go together one way. And I had a lot of experience editing, so I basically edited them before I shot them. I storyboarded them in the beginning, meticulously storyboarded. And then I found that I could storyboard without drawing anything. That I was just as good storyboarding in my head and not fighting my bad drawing skills. So then I stopped. And after a while, my crew, once I took over directing the show after episode, 40, and my production company took over producing the show, which was a painful period because my original partner sued me. Yeah, that's fun. It's very difficult to take out bank loans when you're being sued, so you pay your people with advances from credit cards. Do whatever you have to do. But after a few years, my crew knew me well enough to where we knew each other. We knew each other's visual language enough to where I didn't have to really storyboard much anymore. But the good stuff, or my rule through all the years of Good Eats, was each and every day we will do a shot we have never done before. That's our rule. We are going to find ways to do shots we have not done before. And this eventually is why the show stretched into being about 3.5 days per episode, because we were building speed rail rigs that would connect, things that my wife started calling Good Eats the snowflake factory. Because each and every day I just had to make precious little snowflakes. And I would just barely eke out a profit, on the job. But it was fun. When you look, you look at your key grip and say, blah, 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 I'm sure it can't be done, and then all of a sudden everybody's like, well, we will, by golly, figure out how to do that, and sometimes it's things that most people don't notice, like the camera moves and I move at the same time at the same rate, and people don't really think about the fact that, well, then the dolly must be connected to whatever he's on, which must be on casters so that everything can move the same. And most people, they'll kind of, their heads go like, when dogs hear a funny sound, and they know they've seen it, but and they kind of gloss over it. The film people sometimes stop me like, how did you, well, let me tell you, this was all connected to this, and this rolled, and this came, so we would sometimes spend a full day setting up one shot. A lot of times when we would have multiple set pieces moving, we did a lot of things that would fly, scenic elements that would fly in and fly out, and people that would move in and out, and we flew people, and sometimes it would take, almost a day to squeeze off a shot. It was a damn good one.